Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, we got the man Victor Bermudez in the house, and we're talking Heat, Panthers, Canes, and a whole lot more. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! What's going on, my brother?
What up, my dude?
It's good to see you, dog.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Always.
Damn, dog. This guy's a mover and a shaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Bermudez. I can hit you with a bunch of accolades right now, but we're not going to do that.
We've done that, man. We've done that. I appreciate it. This is home, as I've always told you, man. So it's not needed. This is just a phone call away, man. You know what it is. You hit
Absolutely,
me up, and
dog.
I'm here.
Absolutely,
I'm here.
man. And one of the best reasons that we have you on, dog, you know what I mean? Obviously, besides you being the homie, right, and us being able to talk so much shit together on and off the mic, we really get to break down a lot of the stuff that people don't get to see behind the scenes. We get to talk about stuff that you know and really love to talk about, and just give you that platform, dog. So just know that you always have that platform here. If you ever want to get crazy and want to say some stuff here, Sports with SoSo, we got you here, dog.
Yeah, I've given you some little tidbits leading into college football season and what to expect, and obviously around the league and some stuff I hear. But yeah, this is home, man. This is where you come to just relax and kick it with family, because this is really what it is.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know, this is beyond friendship. This is family. We go way back.
Exactly.
Long time.
But that's what makes this fun, dog. And I'm glad I was able to hold you down and tie you down here for a quick hour. You know what I'm saying?
Make a phone call, man.
Yeah,
make a phone call. Check the schedule. Figure it out.
And we'll get it done.
And here it is.
And here it is, dog. You've been everywhere lately, dog. And I mean that in the literal sense, dog. You've literally been everywhere.
Yeah, a little bit.
Football games, playoff games, Super Bowl, Women's World Cup, like, dog, everywhere. Tell me a little bit about those travels, dog, and like what's really stood out for you out of those each events that make them special.
What stood out? I think for me personally, like, everybody hears, oh, you travel for work, it's great. Well,
right.
Not necessarily.
It's a lot of work.
Look, it's going to sound like I'm, complaining. I'm not. But it's a lot of days away from home. Having kids, that's always tough.
Right.
Women's World Cup in Sydney, Australia, that was 37 days away from home.
Yeah, bro.
So a lot of stuff happens, and your kids are young. And it's not as easy, as fun as it looks. You're not just with a carry-on and getting on a flight and taking off. You're traveling with a team, and you're responsible for that team and their hotel and where they're eating and where they're staying and their flights, and luggage got lost and
equipment, logistics,
dude, it's a
shots.
lot.
There's so much that goes into it.
But as I always say, we prayed for times like this.
Absolutely.
So there's no complaints. I appreciate everything and everywhere I've been. It's funny. Just this past week, I'm in Los Angeles and San Diego for the Women's World Cup.
Right.
So I'm messing around with my talent and my cameraman, and I'm like, man, just 2 weeks ago, I'm at the Super Bowl. 2 weeks later, I'm covering Women's Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Life comes at you fast.
Real quick.
But there was times where I would pray to have just been covering anything.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, whether it was a local fight or a local game, or never imagined a Super Bowl. But yeah, we've been able to do some things, and it's all because of hard work.
Facts.
That's all it is.
That's how it goes, man. And paying your dues, right? Like,
yes, sir.
Starting to put that grind in. A lot of people don't know you were an intern at 560 while working 2 full-time jobs, dog. Like, it takes a lot for the people in this industry who make it to get there. And like you said, people see the Instagram posts, right? Like, hey, I'm here, and that's cool.
But you think it happens overnight, and it doesn't.
No.
I have not forgotten. I don't forget where I came from. I remember being that bored op, trusted only to go in from midnight to 5 in the morning, and all you could do was push one button to play commercial breaks.
And hope you hit it right.
That's what I was trusted with, and make sure you don't mess it up, and make sure those network breaks hit and the local breaks hit. And that was my responsibility at the time. So I was going to be the best button pusher there was.
Facts.
Until, it's funny, quick story, I'm at the Super Bowl, and I run into Damon Amendolara.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit of luck, and then when you get that luck, when you get that chance, you got to make sure you hit on it. So I run into Damon Amendolara. Damon Amendolara now is CBS Radio Network, or now he's at Sirius, but he was at CBS Radio Network. And I'll never forget, man, I was at 560 WQAM, again, running overnights, the morning show producer, and DA was hosting 7 to 10
That's
at
right.
night. And I was the overnight. So the morning show producer, Orlando Alsgary, shout out to Big O, that's my dude, and
Legend
his
down
producer,
here.
they go on vacation. So they asked DA to fill in the morning, and that producer was out. So they asked, hey, Vic, can you stay till 7, from 12 a.m. till 7 in the morning, and just produce, that morning show? Yeah, no problem. I worked with DA for about, I think it was like by Wednesday. He looks at me and says, you have any interest in doing 7 to 10 p.m.? And that's a big move.
That's a
when you're
huge
overnight.
move.
So you go to evenings, and that's a big deal. Different crowd, different.
Yes.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And that's how it started, man. It was literally just by chance, luck, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I think
giving
this-
the okay to say, I'll stay till 7 in the morning.
Right.
Showing him, hey, I'm capable of doing this. And he at the time was like, look, man, you're better than what I got from 7 to 10. And I've only worked with you for 3 days. And it's just taking advantage of those opportunities, because those opportunities are going to come, and they can pass you up, or you can take
Make
full
something of
advantage
it.
of them. And I did that. And then 7 to 10 turned into 12 to 2 or 12 to 3. And then that turned into afternoon drive. And then afternoon drive turned into television. And then,
And
the rest
then
is history.
you're at the Super Bowl.
And then you're at multiple Super Bowls.
Multiple
now.
Super Bowls, dog.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. You put on a hell of a production on Telemundo
that.
Deportes, man. I loved it. Me and my girl actually listened to the whole third quarter and beginning of the fourth quarter in Telemundo. Absolutely, dog. In the chase of another Emmy, right?
Yeah.
And
We shall see.
yeah, but that game in itself, you talk about taking opportunities, right? We saw one of the best in the game in Patrick Mahomes take the most opportunities in that game multiple times, dog. And you and I are both AFC East guys. You're a Buffalo Bills fan. Obviously, we're Dolphins fans here. How does that make you feel as a fan, dog, to see him doing his thing like that in person and being like, damn it, dog, that's the guy we got to get out of here, or that's the guy we got to compete against?
That's the one thing. You mentioned something before I even get into Patrick Mahomes. That's the one thing I always mention to everyone, because first and foremost, we're fans. If you're into this, it's because you grew up watching sports as a fan. No one grows up saying,
I'm dying to be an analyst.
Yeah, no, or you do, but you get into it and you
Because of
want to
fandom.
become an analyst because you're a fan of the sport. So I always just try to take a moment wherever I'm at, including a Super Bowl. It may be as small as, Miami versus Temple. And I was at Temple in Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia earlier this year. That was awful.
right.
It was raining.
and we came back that game.
So you try to take that moment, despite how big the event is or how small the event is, and just cherish it, because there was times where either you couldn't afford to get into Joe Robbie Stadium, you couldn't afford to get into the Miami Arena or the AAA, wherever it may be. So you don't let that escape you. I always, if I'm on the field, I try to take a lap, let that come in, let it sink in rather, and appreciate where you're at. And then when you get to see these guys in person, Patrick Mahomes, what he did against the Ravens in the AFC Championship, what he did in that Super Bowl, it's just, man, leaves you in awe.
Yeah,
it leaves you in awe. It helps you appreciate it even more so. And just the fact that you're getting to witness greatness. Look, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Bills went 3-32 against Tom Brady.
Yep.
And I could hate Tom Brady, but I got to respect him, man. And I cherish every moment I saw, because you witness greatness. I'm not a Yankee fan, but I can appreciate 27 championships because of what it is. I don't like Patrick Mahomes because of what he done 13 seconds to the Buffalo Bills and numerous times in the playoffs.
You brought it up, not me, dog.
Yeah. So I don't like the Chiefs, but I respect the Chiefs.
Right.
And I wasn't rooting against them, because it's just, if they beat the Bills, and I want to have, if we lost, at least we lost to the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
But you take pride and acknowledge what they do. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, what they're doing, like, they're a dynasty. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's what it
was
is,
that
dog.
back-to-back. Once you get that back-to-back, it hadn't been done since Patriots 03, 04. And yeah, they are a dynasty. It is what
Certified.
it is. And look, there's been a lot of talks of him reaching Tom Brady. I don't think that happens. I think Tom Brady is, I know, I get it. But Tom Brady's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is number one in every single statistical category there is. And he's got, two Super Bowl rings?
True.
He needs a lot more.
No, he has 3 now.
Three, my apology.
And two
Three,
back to
two
back.
back to back. Tom Brady did that. And then how many Super Bowls do you need to appear in as well? And there's a lot of up-and-coming guys. Look, can he get there? Sure.
Here's my argument against that.
Highly doubtful.
Here's my argument against that, and you could probably touch on this a little bit, right?
And before I even let you move on, how are you going to be better than Tom Brady when the two opportunities you had against Tom Brady, you lost?
Yeah.
I don't care how young you were.
Yeah,
it is what it is. You lost against Tom Brady. So how do you surpass Tom Brady?
That L's on Canelo's record when he went against Mayweather, right?
Yeah. So because he was 23 years old, you watched that because he took on Mayweather, who was 35 at the time. No, when they were in the game, you decided to pick on Mayweather. You lost to Mayweather. You're going to have to hold that out for the rest of your life. The fact that you went up against Tom Brady, I don't care if it was second year in the league, third year in the league, whatever it may be, you went up against him in a Super Bowl, you lost. You went up against him in an AFC championship and lost, and at home. So no, I will not be able to put Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I might sound like a hater. I might sound like an old man.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so because
I won't put him over him.
If we're talking about right now, you can't do that, right? Like you can't put nobody over Tom Brady today, right now. From like the time that football started to right now, you can't put nobody over Tom Brady, right? Because the ring speaks for itself.
It's the same thing.
But
with LeBron.
We came from an era that we saw like I don't want to say elite, but I want to say that. Probably that 80s era, 90s era, mid 80s, early 90s was like the best era that we got, right? And when we got that era, we saw one of the best quarterbacks go out there and do it. We saw Marino, we saw Elway, we saw Jim Kelly, we saw, you know what I'm saying? Like we saw a lot of guys. And I think that Mahomes is in that range now because of the fact that he got to already 3 in an era where nobody's even gotten close to 2. You get what I mean? Because of Tom Brady's dominance. All right, so to pick up where I was saying, again, we witnessed an era, right, where there were so many great quarterbacks in the early 90s, and then that shit fell completely off the map. No other quarterback held it down. Tom Brady showed up, and it was like, holy crap, what the hell is this? And then he dominated. And then we expected to be like, well, now that Tom Brady's gone, it's over. Nobody else is ever going to get there. And then, boom, Mahomes comes out here and wins his 3rd Super Bowl. So I think that's why they're putting him in the conversation more now than they had been, or it was available to put him in that conversation.
Look, it's the same thing comparison with Jordan and LeBron. Jordan never lost in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady did lose in the Super Bowl, but he's never done it without Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes.
True.
This man, Tom Brady, left the organization that people thought was the reason for his success, went down to Tampa Bay with
Mike Evans and company.
Look, Mike Evans is a stud, but created a team, formed a team around him, and went out and won a Super Bowl with Bruce Arians in his first year with Tampa Bay. So the fact that he's done it with multiple coaches in different organizations, it's just... Yeah, you're not going to be better than Tom Brady. I'm sorry. LeBron's not going to be better than Michael Jordan.
Never.
My opinion. Never. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. It's just my opinion. For me personally, you can't catch Tom Brady. You just won't. And then when you do, and you do have as many rings, well, what happened when you went head to head?
Yep, you lost.
How'd that work out?
You lost, yeah.
And you had youth.
Now, LeBron will never be able to surpass Michael Jordan's touch on the game, his impact on the game, like, and let's be honest, he's not going to catch him with the rings either, right? Like, no, so that's pretty much a wrap for that. It ain't happening.
It's not going to happen in Los Angeles. That's for sure.
It's not happening, bro. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Maybe he comes back to Miami,
bro.
Maybe he comes back to Miami, joins Jimmy Butler.
Let's talk about Miami then, right? And Jimmy Butler, dog. They're coming off another win, right? They got that big win in New Orleans. They had to fight back. Literally fight back, right? In that second half, even though the game went into the halftime tied. This is now their 5th out of 6 games that they won. They're currently 31-25, 7th in the East. Only a game and a half behind that 6th spot. More importantly, they're only 2.5 games out of that 4th spot. I am a hardcore believer that if they don't make it to that 4, 5, 6 at the latest, like 4, 6, the worst spot, then they're not going to see playoff success. Because for as much as Jimmy can be himmy in the playoffs, relying on that to do like some hero shit that he did last year is impossible, dog.
You can't do that as often as you're doing it. Like, you can't, it's not, and I know the way it sounds because they literally do that. It's just flip a switch and boom, they're there again. And Jimmy said it the other day. Here we go. Here we go again.
How much do you put? I know. Dog, you listen to a lot of athletes talk.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how much stock can somebody like me put into that, dog?
It's getting old. And Shaq subscribed to the same, scenario is like, oh, after the All-Star break, we turn it on. It only matters going into the playoffs as long as you're hot going into the playoffs. But teams around the league are getting better. The Cavs are good.
Cavs are real good.
The Boston Celtics are just getting better. And I know what they did to the Boston Celtics last year. I know what they were able to do to the Knicks last year. But Knicks are better. Celtics are better. Cavs are better. And teams are getting better. And you're waiting to turn it on. And
it might be too late.
What if you don't turn it on?
What if you don't fucking turn it on? And it's not Jimmy that I'm worried about. It's everybody else, right? Like in this recent stretch of games, it's funny. We were talking to Frisco Chino, shout out to Steve, and he's always like, man, where's Bam and his 20-something points? Bam is averaging 21 points quietly this year, dog. You know what I mean? These last 3 games have probably been his most dominant games, right? Where he's actually out there exerting his physicality on the game, coming through in the fourth quarter, and just dominating on both sides, getting rebounds, hitting shots, coming up with assists, all types of stuff, right? I don't know if Bam is cut out to be a superstar in the playoffs. He can be a really good player, and he's been a beast before, but I don't know if he can carry that like Jimmy can carry that. I don't know if Hero can carry that. So if those two guys don't have it, it's going to be harder for Jimmy to carry any team to another finals, in my opinion, dog.
I think they definitely need someone to step up to help Jimmy out, and I think they need to stay healthy. I think when they do stay healthy, that's when we see the runs that we've seen the past few years.
Yeah.
But that's big ifs, and there's a lot of ifs that we're bringing to the table because I just feel like it's getting old, man. It's getting old. Like, why can't we have a good season throughout? And maybe that's not the way it works. Maybe we do have a great season and we secure number 1 seed and then we get bounced out, second round.
But you see, I think that if that does happen, in my opinion, that means that the team is much more solid than what it is right now, right? Because like everything fucking worked out for the Heat to get into that 1-2 seed that year, right? Like everything worked out for these guys. Health, role players having career years, you know what I mean? Like winning streak. Everything happened and lined up for those guys, right? So that was probably the year that you're like, oh, this could be a championship year. You know what I mean? And then it didn't work out. We ended up getting bounced in the second round. And then the year
last year, and last year,
that is supposed to be impossible.
You got a playing game, like there's no shot we're gonna make the finals this year. And next thing you know,
and these guys are going to the fucking finals.
Yeah,
dog.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
But
it's fun at the time, but when you don't, it's like the Miami Hurricanes basketball team. You go to the Final Four, and then you come back the following year, and boom, injuries hurt. And now you're not the team. And there was expectations. There was expectations for the Miami Heat coming into this year, and it wasn't hoping to get into the playoffs.
It was
with possibilities of play-ins. Like you thought, okay, this team has gotten over the hump. They're a finals team. They were able to have, some success in the finals and ran through the entire Eastern Conference playoff run. So you were thinking, okay, next year, that's it. They've learned their lesson, and it's not. And it's the injuries continue to pile up, and we continue to see the guys that taking days off and
I hate that shit, dog.
It's just the NBA's.
But
we live in nowadays.
But it kills Jimmy's effort. You know what I mean? Because if you say, fuck it, I'm going to miss 30 games and just play the important games, all right, those 30 games that you miss could be the difference between you being comfortable in that third spot than you having to exert yourself in that 8th spot.
That's exactly what it is.
But then here's my issue with that as a hardcore fan, right? Like, what's the ceiling? What's the floor? How do we determine that? Right? How do I say this is the guy who's making the team more valuable? These guys aren't. This guy is. This guy isn't. And then we got to make decisions on that because then I never get a full picture of the team.
You trust that front office. If there's any organization that deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's the Miami Heat.
I get it.
And Pat, you trust, and they've proven that time and time again. Now, does it always show up on the court? No, we're frustrated. And to me, the expectation was if you made the finals last year, why can't you make the finals this year?
But I think it was just a miracle that we made the finals.
That's fair too.
A well-timed miracle.
Look,
because
I agree somewhat, and I don't because
come on, Vic, we were a fucking playing team that made it to the finals, dog. How often is that gonna happen?
Not often, but they were a finals team just a few years prior to that in the bubble. So the fact that they're making continuous finals appearances, and then you want to go back and just. Then that's when you start crediting the organization. But they went to 4 straight finals from 2010 to 2014. Then they have a couple of years off, and then they go right back to and then 2 more finals appearances. And then prior to the 2010, they were in the finals in 2006. So it's just an organization that, if any organization in pro sports deserves any benefit, it's Pat Riley and the Miami Heat, because they've shown time and time again they'll have some down years, but they'll figure it out. And when you least expect them, I had no thought in Miami Heat basketball being anything of having any relevance after the Big Three parted ways. And then somehow that franchise figures it out.
I get it, Vic. But here's the thing, right? It hasn't resulted in championships.
You're spoiled. That's the thing.
But they set the bar. Right. I didn't set the bar. They set the bar.
I get
so then
that.
when I look at the Jimmy experience, right, the experiment, right, I'm like, okay, this shit worked. It worked. Nobody can say that it didn't work. We got Jimmy, and we went to finals.
Working.
It's working because he's still here, right? But if we're looking at it from a macro point of view,
when Jimmy Butler signed, you thought Jimmy Butler's bringing you championships?
Championship, dog.
Really?
You know why? Because I was like, dog, if
just
there's
Jimmy Butler.
Just
like
Jimmy
you thought
Butler.
Jimmy Butler doesn't need another 2, like
just
a big
Jimmy.
3. You thought Jimmy Butler alone was going to bring you championship.
The emergence of
I think
Hero.
Jimmy Butler has overachieved in Miami. How's that?
Oh man, that's a stretch,
2
dog.
finals appearances?
That's a stretch. No, bro,
With
because
very little help.
If we're talking about his game is built for playoff basketball.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that he can build that type of success in the playoffs. My whole thing with Jimmy is you gotta be one of those top 3 guys in the NBA in order to do it completely on your own. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be a fucking LeBron or Durant or some shit.
Yeah,
a Curry,
knowing that Jimmy's not that, why would you just
because of what else is around
Jimmy alone here in Miami?
Number 1, we have the best coach in the NBA. And then number 2, we probably have a top 3 supporting cast when it comes to top to bottom. Top to bottom, we have a top 3 because Bam is that X factor, right? Because maybe Bam doesn't give you 30 points a game, but guess what? He's gonna get. I
don't know if we have the best supporting cast. I don't know if I'll agree with that. I think we have enough
I said top 3
role players, but I think there's a lot of other teams that are way deeper than Miami.
Okay, yes, that's fair, right? Especially right now, because again, we haven't had the consistency with the role players that we've witnessed in previous seasons. But if we're looking at it again from the macro, the Jimmy experiment is working, right? Because he's still here.
Good word. There's just no consistency with the Heat.
There's no consistency
throughout the season.
So then, how do you know who is valuable and who is not? It can't just be judged off the playoff performance, because if it's that, then there's no way that Heat fans can hold on to the value of Bam, saying there's no way that we couldn't trade this guy for one of the best players in the league. Well, in the playoffs, he doesn't perform.
Well, I think everybody on this roster is up for trade.
Right?
Depending on what you're getting back.
Depending on what you're getting back. Hero was a lot of talk about being traded. But this is a dude who's gotten hurt now in multiple playoff runs. Right? When he's playing well, doesn't mean that he can't play well. He can play well, but can he stay healthy enough to help a team?
And that's something else that you got to look at.
And those are things
that'll get you traded too.
Especially for this team, because we're asking Jimmy to carry these fools. You know what I mean? And be like, yo, go be the guy. So I know that Jimmy can do it because we've already seen him take a team to the finals. My biggest thing with this Heat team is like, who's going to be the guy who fucking steps up to help Jimmy? Because it's clear that Jimmy can do enough.
You hope it's Bam.
But we need a 1B. It could be Hero. It could be Hero, right? If he can stay healthy. My X factor is Jaquez, and the only reason why he's my X factor is because he's smart.
That's a perfect example of how this front office just continues to find guys.
Hit home runs.
Like the whole roster's built off of, and they've proven that they can do it either through free agency, through trades, or if you want to really get down to it, through the draft. Like that's why this front, I'm in love with them. Like I think they're the best in sports. You know, I think they're up there with the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, what the Patriots did for a long time. It's just they always find these gems. They find guys in the second round. Like it's insane the success that they and how they're able to do it. And obviously they're in love with Kentucky and going to that well often, but it's just.
Oh, but look, even with Jokic, you know, finding that kid to come in and be a part of it. Thomas Bryant, you know what I mean? That guy came out of nowhere.
We talk about the culture all the time, and that's big down here. It's like people literally come here and believe it and buy into it. And I was there at that final game for Dwayne Wade when Jimmy Butler was with the Sixers, and you literally saw it unfold before your eyes as Jimmy Butler's in shoot around wearing the Wade shirt, and you're seeing that he's taking it all in and witnessing, man, it's different down here.
Yeah,
this AAA is different. This culture is different.
Yeah.
And I think once you get a feel for that, you're like, man, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And it's why when you leave, like LeBron James, you still think back of those days and can acknowledge the fact that this organization is just, they're built different, man. They get this. And if you're able to take it in, you can take that with you and mold it elsewhere. And we see the success LeBron had in Cleveland. And it was all of what he studied here. He said it, going to Miami was going to college because he never had that.
Right.
Went to
had
college.
to grow up. He had to grow up down here.
Learned from the best professors possible, went to Cleveland, won a championship there with what he learned in Miami, then took it to LA. And
even still, it never really worked the same.
No, and it won't.
It won't. And you know, that's one of the things that Terry Rozier said when he got here, right? And that's always hard to do. An in-season trade, find the right guy, right, to bring him in and be a part of the culture right away and implement them into the team. And that was one of the first things he says. He was like, man, you know, the environment here is different. The front office, the guys in the garage, the guys who like wash your car, everybody is like locked in on, yo, you guys are playing well. Hey, this guy, you know, is doing good. Or, man, you guys got to get it together. Because winning matters down here. And I think that's why I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what's the floor, what's the ceiling, you know what I mean? And then be able to make decisions.
The floor's not making the playoffs.
Always, right?
You miss the playoffs coming off of a finals appearance. Like, that's just, it can't happen.
It can't happen.
I think a play-in is also floor. Like, come on, you made the playoffs last year. You got to secure one of those top spots. And then the ceiling, it's got to be a finals appearance. I don't know if
Isn't it a championship?
I just don't see it. I don't see this team being championship caliber. I think I can't sit here and say I don't see them making the finals because they did so last year.
Correct.
And the way and recently how they've been playing, they're proving that it is a switch that they can turn on. It's annoying because you hope that switch never goes off, but it has numerous times with this team. Hopefully they did turn the switch on, and now it stays on until we reach June, late June, and it's another finals appearance for the Miami Heat. But
yeah. I mean, we definitely saw this team gel, right? We saw this team gel and really come together. The guys are definitely locked in. Everybody has bought into what Heat culture is about. And even maybe that it kind of, the fight got a little bit out of control. It's stupid. We both know that NBA fighters, NBA players can't fight for shit. So that was funny to watch. But just seeing the guys back each other up and really, stand up for one each other and really take on that brotherhood mentality. In basketball, that helps a lot.
That switch. That helps
a lot.
You having your brothers back, you showing up for the team. That, now a few guys are going to serve a 1-game suspension. But that's going to help. That could be what gets this team to, hey, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time to turn it on. As cliche as it is, man, and it is full of cliches. That's practically sports, but maybe that was it. Maybe that was that light, that switch that needed to be turned on. And we'll see. There's still a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah.
But I think they do demonstrate that they could be what you said, anywhere in those. I don't think they catch 1 or 2, but they can be a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they're only a few games behind.
And I think teams would be scared if the Heat do reach that spot.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you gotta be shitting bricks if the Heat make it to the 3rd or 4th seed.
I don't think you're scared of Madison Square Garden. I think they're outside of Boston. I don't think there's anyone in the East that puts fear in you like the Miami Heat.
For sure.
You don't want to go to the TD Garden or wherever the Celtics play. Yeah. But I don't think you fear the Mecca.
No.
I don't think you fear anywhere else. I don't think you fear going to Cleveland.
No. And
I think
people would have a hard time coming down here. I'll tell you that. People would have a hard time coming down
on this
here.
Miami Heat. I think that's something, folks. It's fun coming down here, but it's different coming down here to get a win in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot different. It's not the same, man. They're playing tonight at Sacramento, 10:00 game, so we're gonna be able to catch them. Well, not you, but depending you is work. I'm gonna watch it, and then they'll be in Portland and Denver to finish off the road trip.
We watch local sports.
All right,
we watch local sports. We don't forget where we came from.
Well, the other day I saw you showing little Kev all these fucking Bills plays from like week 4, and I'm like, come on, dog, the season's over, dog.
He's a Bills fan. He's a Bills fan.
Yeah, but that's not a local team. All right,
he's in every Miami Hurricanes game, bro. bro.
That's true.
That kid
He
is
owns that spot.
305.
He owns that spot.
305 till he dies.
I'm gonna start asking Kevin for tickets. That's what I'm gonna do. I'll be like, yo, Kevin, remember your boy, dog. Remember your
boy. That boy knows. You talk about security. He knows the guards. He'll be riding on a golf cart with Mario Cristobal, hanging out with Jason Taylor. Dude's too much, man. That kid's too much.
That's
bro.
my dog. That's my dog. Let's kick it to another local sports team, bro. A team that I really think is on the brink of success and a brink of a championship.
The best team in South Florida.
Damn, dog, like that.
The best team in South Florida.
Okay, I can see that argument, right? It's not an argument. I can see that claim.
The most consistent team in South Florida.
But they've been the most consistent team in South Florida, dog. Both in the playoffs and out of the playoffs. Because they've shown you that the Panthers can do it in the regular season, go out there and win a bunch of awards, first place, all types of stuff, Stanley Cup. And then even in the playoffs, go out there and beat teams, sweep teams, powerhouse, original six hockey teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not easy to do. And for the Panthers to have so much success in the time that Bill Zito has been there, dog,
man,
it's crazy.
I think they win the Stanley Cup.
I
really do think they win the Stanley Cup. If you had to put your money down on any South Florida team right now to win a championship, I think the safest bet is putting your money on the Florida Panthers.
Absolutely. Way ahead of the Marlins, way ahead of the Hurricanes, way ahead of the...
Talk about organization, and, you know, they finally got that organization in the right direction. They're finally over the hump. They realize what needs to be done. I think they've made the right accusations. I think they made the right trades, and it's you see it. You see it. It's an electric place to play at.
Yeah.
They're finally getting that home crowd.
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale loves the Panthers.
Loves it.
I'm getting requests for Panther tickets. Like, people want to go to for a Panthers game. That's when you know, like, it's. I'm not saying we're a hockey town, but we're an event town, and the Panthers are the surest event for a good time and a win.
Yeah. I was gonna say that we're more of a win crowd right now, right? Because like at this level, like you have to show me something, right? Yeah. Like for any fan down here, it's like, you gotta show me what you got.
We're living it with the Miami Hurricanes. You know, people are getting tired of the Mario Cristobal cliches. And,
we're gonna get there.
And the attitude.
We're gonna get there
because you want results, and the Panthers are the team that's giving you results on a consistent basis.
Yo, 11-2 in their last 13 games, dog.
And they're fun to watch, man.
They're fun to watch.
If they go down 2-0, 3-0, no lead is too safe for this team. They're able to come back. They're able to fight back, claw back. All cliches put in there.
but look, they just did it Saturday night against Washington at home. You know what I mean? Went down early, 1-0, went down 2-0, fought back, and again, the team is just so locked in. It's hard for me to put into terms with hockey, right? Because we don't know too much how the dynamic of those locker rooms work, right? We obviously know that they operate different because those guys are real tough guys on and off the ice, right? Like, so it's a complete different mentality that those guys play with. But for you to go out there and have a 7-game winning streak, a 6-game winning streak in hockey, dog, that shit is tough because every night you got to bring it. Every night it's a fight, literally on the ice. Every night,
it's a taxing sport.
You know what I mean? You're putting out maximum effort in order to get a win. And the Panthers, I felt like their success has always been on the defensive side. The better they do on defense, the more they can score goals. Right now, in this 11-game run that they had of wins, they're allowing less than 2 goals a game. That type of shit shows me that they can turn on the switch on defense and say, hey, we're in this game. We may be down a goal, but let's just lock it down defensively. Everything else is going to come after that. And I don't think I've seen a team relatively to their sport has been able to do that as consistent as the Panthers, right? Because I don't think the Heat struggle with flipping that switch on and locking it in. The Canes have that problem of staying focused and staying locked in. The Marlins, for as young as they are, they had a stretch where they were locked in really in the season, but then they lost it a little bit and had to figure their way into the playoffs. But the Panthers, dog, those boys are always locked in, regardless of whatever the situation is.
I mean, just what they did to Boston last year.
Yeah, man.
The historic season Boston had, and then to get bounced out the way they did by the Florida Panthers, it's just, they're special, man. I truly do feel this team is on the verge of something extremely special in South Florida. And how insane would it be if it's the Florida Panthers who bring a championship to this team before the Dolphins do, before the Hurricanes do. Obviously, the Marlins had one in 2003, but it's been a long time. The fact that they are able to secure or bring that title over all those other teams, you just didn't expect it.
No.
You don't when you're talking South Florida sports, I still do think you know the Panthers are way at the bottom of the totem pole when you're thinking South Florida sports.
Right.
It's a football town. The Big Three turned it into a basketball town for a brief moment there. So you don't really think too much of Florida Panthers when it comes to hockey. There's a bunch of hockey fans that just don't think we deserve a team.
True.
I listened to a bunch of Buffalo Bills radio WGR and how much they despise the Florida Panthers and the fan base. Boston's the same way.
Yeah.
New York Rangers, that fan base, WFAN, I listen to them every morning.
Us.
They can't stand us. They can't stand the fact that we have a winning product.
Yeah, dog.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is, but I think
we got it all. We got the beaches, the women, the sports,
winning,
the winning,
the nice cars. We got everything, dog.
It's hard to be.
It's hard to be a fan outside of South Florida, dog. And again, when it's a sport that we're not supposed to quote unquote be good at, right? Because hockey is not an original
and they were
sport
down for a while.
Here.
For a while, they had the longest playoff drought, and it was a long time. And then the front office couldn't figure it out, and certain moves didn't work out.
Right.
But credit to them for realizing that and making the right moves and reaching the playoffs, and then not settling for just a playoff berth, wanting to get better, wanting to put a winning product on the field, on the ice rather, and then making the right adjustments from making that Stanley Cup run. Yeah. It's kudos to that organization, all the guys out there, Steve Goldstein.
I love that guy on the
all of them, man. They're all great dudes.
And again, like those guys in that franchise,
Randy Moeller, like that entire front office, man. All of them, the play-by-play guys on the radio, on TV. They're really close to what the Miami Heat are doing. There's
what it feels like?
Front office. I've said this numerous times now. I deal with the Miami Heat. They're big on their local media. And then when you get to work with other organizations and speak to them, some guys don't even return your email. Some guys think they're just, obviously, like the Yankees are difficult to deal with, but others get it, man. And the Panthers, I truly do feel like they're on, if not already there, they understand it. They get it. And it's not just in the front office, it's not just upstairs, it's coming down to the ice, and you're seeing it because of those decisions being made upstairs.
You know what it feels like, dog? It feels like that time right before the Big Three era, right? Where the Heat were like, bro, we got a superstar, we got the right guys in place, we have a couple of things we just need something to hit the spark. And I think the spark has been Kachuk, because even though this season he started off slow, he's been such an X factor and such a glue guy in that locker room, and everybody, he's so likable, and people really, you know what I'm saying, gravitate to him. And even though he does not a big talker, he goes out there and plays hard every night, dog. Big Bob, you know what I'm saying, for being an older gentleman in that sport and being the goalie, like. You're the one usually taking the shit. You're the one getting hit all game, and there's shooting pucks at you 60 miles per hour. But those guys stand up for each other, and I feel like they have that camaraderie to be like, "Yo, it's us in this locker room outside," and then
that goes a long
versus
way,
the
that
world.
Goes a long way. That goes a long way. We're seeing with the Heat.
And something else that you touched on that I'm glad you did touch on, and I hope our viewers are really starting to pick up on this, man. That home crowd is incredible. Incredible, because you can go to a Panthers game on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and the energy in the building is going to be the same exact energy on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
It's insane, man. Like I'm telling you, like people request tickets. They're like, and I'm pick a day. Where do you want to go? Oh, I want to go on a Monday night. What? What's going on Monday?
No,
like they're not looking for just weekend stuff. They just. It's a fun ticket.
Yeah.
It's a fun ticket.
It's funny. Joel and I always call them the little brothers of the Miami Heat, dog. Because, like, they saw the example and we're like...
everybody is. Everybody in this town is.
Yeah, but you have to do the execution, you know? And that's why I say that, like, we touched on the top of the topic. The credit goes to Bill Zito. Yeah. The credit goes to Bill Zito. He has an amazing team. All those guys that work in that organization, in that front office, from the TV guys to the radio guys to the media guys, to the guys on the ice, to the trainers, like the guys in the new practice facility, like everything that this franchise is doing is in championship contending mode. And it's not like, hey, let's try to get it in 1 year. No, we're going to do this for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
To last.
Yeah.
At least a few years.
Yeah.
And you've seen it and the success they've had, you know, the last few years. And it seems like this is not going to be stopping anytime soon. Barring injuries, I think they're set. I do truly feel like the Florida Panthers could possibly be the next team in South Florida that brings you a championship.
I'm gonna fucking put $15 on him on the Hard Rock app when we're done here on that on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that Vic is guaranteeing it, but you know, if you feel that good about it, dog,
I honestly
I'm
do.
there. I'm there with you, dog.
I do think it's the Florida Panthers who bring South Florida the next championship.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now let's jump into your wheelhouse real quick. We got a lot of events happening in boxing. They just announced recently the Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia fight, April 20th.
Yep.
Give me your quick thoughts on that. I know you're tight with both camps. I know you know these guys personally. Who would you give the edge to, and why would that underdog have a chance to win the fight?
A lot closer to Ryan Garcia. I've known Ryan Garcia since maybe 16 years of age. I would just spent some time with Ryan Garcia in Vegas. The day they announced the fight, he came on with us, got to speak to him, speak to his reps. Extremely close with Ryan and Golden Boy and all those guys out there. But I think Devin Haney, and the great thing about this fight is people may not know, they're 3-3 against each other. They fought 6 times in the amateurs.
Holy shit.
So it's very 3-3 against each other. Amateurs. Devin Haney started his career in Mexico. A lot of people may not know that.
Yeah, I knew that.
I believe 9 fights were in Mexico. Ryan Garcia started his career in Mexico as well, in Tijuana. So there's a lot of stuff here. Obviously, dads get involved.
Yes.
And that adds to it. And then we saw what happened in Vegas, and then the religious talk and bashing each other's religion.
Right.
I think Devin Haney's going to win this fight.
Because he's clearly the better boxer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because,
I think Ryan Garcia lacks some stuff on defense. I think Ryan Garcia has realized how to sell fights, how to make fights. I think Ryan Garcia, it's funny, we were talking, and early in his career, I would tell him, hey, man, like, you're Mexican, you're Ryan Garcia. You need to know Spanish. You need to learn Spanish. You're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Right.
Especially being a Mexican fighter. That's when they turn their back on you. If you can't speak their language, they just don't think you're one of theirs. I've seen it with other numerous Mexican fighters. It's a tough crowd regardless. Tough fan base. And then I saw him last week, and I said, like, hey, man, so much for that leaving money on the table. You just got $40 million guaranteed. He's like, yeah, so much for that, huh, Vic? But I just don't know where his concentration's at.
Okay, that's
because
fair.
Ryan Garcia has seen success has tasted that money that comes with success, and that's real, man. Look, that's why I give so much credit to Mayweather, because Mayweather made the most money that's ever been made inside the squared circle.
Still making it.
Still was able to get up and run 10 miles every morning. Canelo's the same way. Yeah. Canelo, we don't even have to go back to Mayweather. Canelo just a few years ago was the highest paid athlete of all time, signing that $360+ million fight deal. And I've been in training camp with Canelo. I've seen the work ethic. So you admire that stuff. I'm yet to see that. I'm yet to see that from Ryan Garcia. I'm not saying he's not putting in the work, but personally, having been part of, not me being part of Canelo team, Ryan Garcia being part of Canelo team, and getting the opportunity to spend some time with Canelo team in San Diego, I don't know if he's going to put in as much work as Haney. Well, I hope he does, because I'm a Ryan Garcia fan, and again, biased towards that camp because of that friendship. And I don't forget that. I don't forget the moments I spent with Ryan Garcia when he was young, and when he parted ways with his father, and when he was part of Canelo team, and even now, very cordial. But I just think Devin Haney's a better fighter at the moment.
I think that
the hungrier fighter too.
For sure, the hungrier fighter, right?
Ryan Garcia has a lot of stuff behind closed doors and in the public. Ryan Garcia is a media mogul, a TMZ sensation.
Facts.
Literally,
social media guy. He's a social media guy.
Dude has a baby, and within 30 minutes, he's announcing a divorce. There's a lot going on in that camp, and that worries me. As a fighter, that would worry me. As a family member, as a teammate, that worries me. Devin Haney is all about business at the moment. Devin Haney went to Australia numerous times and took on.
Nice, dog.
And with everything going against him, your dad's not going to get his visa. Your dad's not going to be able to come. Don't matter. I'm going to whoop up this dude. I'm going to get these belts. Devin Haney is just on a different path right now, in my opinion, in his career than Ryan Garcia is.
Yeah.
And we'll find out April 20th.
But I think that you can tell, right, in how they approach their business, right? Because Devin Haney has all of the reason to be that guy who's the shit talker, who's out there being brash and in people's faces and stuff like that, right? Because his dad does such a good enough job of that he can emulate that himself. But I think that the biggest thing that Haney has in this fight is his composure. You know what I'm saying? He knows he's been in wars. He knows that he can hurt people. He knows that he can do that. So him having that knowledge in himself gives him that confidence. For Ryan, him being down in the complete downs, getting embarrassed on TV and pay-per-view and shit like that, and going down to a body shot, you know what I mean? Like,
those body shots are real.
They're killer, dog. They're killer.
I know the way it seems on TV.
But what I'm saying, for a professional, right? Like, that takes pride. That takes a little bit of pride out of you, right? Because you'd rather get knocked out than go down to a body shot, I'm sure. I would hope that the dog in Ryan Garcia shows up, because if it does, he does have skills that can really present problems for Haney, right? Really present problems for Haney.
I think it's that left. I think the only way Ryan Garcia wins this fight is by knockout.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And not to say...
And he can hurt
He can hurt him. He can hurt him,
He can hurt Devin Haney. We saw what Jorge Linares did to Devin Haney. If that round was 30 more seconds, Devin Haney might not even be in this fight.
Correct.
So I look, there's always a possibility of a win in boxing and MMA. A puncher always has a shot. Ryan Garcia has a lot of pop, and I don't think Devin Haney has enough pop to end Ryan Garcia the way Gervonta Davis did.
Right.
The way Luke was able to drop him.
Right.
I don't think Ryan Garcia touches the canvas in this fight. I do think if Ryan Garcia wins this fight, it's because Devin Haney's on the canvas.
Yeah.
So I think it's a unanimous decision for Devin Haney. I think that's the way this fight goes.
Right.
UD for Devin Haney. And if Ryan Garcia is able to, pull out a victory, I think it's by the fact that he was able to land that big left and knock him out.
We'll cover it more as we get closer to the fight.
April
we'll cover
20th.
it more. April 20th.
Whether it's in New York or Vegas, wherever Ryan Garcia decides to fight. It's supposed to be at Barclays.
Yes.
It's supposed to be in New York.
I've seen fight there. Remember we saw, you weren't there, but we saw that Keith Thurman fight up there.
And you guys thought Keith Thurman was like the next thing.
Yeah. Well, he's fighting pretty soon too.
Yeah, he is.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this though, real quick. You mentioned Canelo earlier. It came out in the news today that Canelo and PBC officially broke their contract with 2 fights left. It was supposed to be a 3-fight deal. I'm sure you're getting details thrown at you left and right, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on what's a good home for Canelo, right? Because when you're the biggest name in boxing and you're the biggest draw, like, it's hard to be an independent, right? You do have to sign with some promoter and say, this is how we're going to try to put on these fights, right? What do you think would be the best thing for him?
Shout out to Shava from ESPN who broke the news. He is extremely well connected with that Canelo team.
Great analyst,
really deep inside with those guys. Look, I think this is the best move for Canelo. I loved the move to PBC because of everything that could have been, but it didn't materialize. There just wasn't the Charlos I didn't agree with, and the way the lackluster performance by both Jermell and Jamal, I think just didn't lend itself. The only fight that interests me in PBC for Canelo Alvarez is David Benavidez, and that's long ways away. So I think the move back to Matchroom and Matchroom Boxing. Yeah. And obviously it should be on DAZN. I think it makes sense. I think Jaime Munguia does wonders for 4th of May in Vegas, Mexico versus Mexico. Right. Everybody thinks Jaime Munguia is the next big Mexican star. They've been hyping him up. And I was recently there. You know what I'm saying? We were recently there. When Jaime Munguia first came out and Canelo was under the Golden Boy umbrella at the time, and you were able to see both. Yeah, I thought Jaime Munguia at one point was going to be that guy. But I just think it's the fact that you got Mexico versus Mexico.
It's a big deal.
Canelo Alvarez has in the past said, I don't like to fight Mexican fighters because I'd rather them establish something and achieve something as opposed to be knocking down my own. So he took out like all of Great Britain for some time there, and all he was doing was just fighting British guys and knocking them out. But now you got Jaime Munguia, who's been asking for this fight.
A legit challenger.
The storylines are amazing. He's taking on a fellow Mexican who haven't shared camps, but shared the same promotion. You're taking on your former promoter who you've sued and got out of that deal. It's just great for boxing, great drama, great storylines. De La Hoya is going to have to address Canelo. Canelo's going to have to address him. Eddie Reynoso is going to address De La Hoya. Jaime Munguia is going to get brought into it. So it's
more
better.
Juicy.
It's
juicy.
Bigger storyline than any of the Charlo brothers. And I know what the Charlos bring to the table. I know that crowd that comes with them, that atmosphere.
Yeah, but truth
on
be told,
the 4th of May in Vegas, it's going to be obviously Mexicans travel for their guys. They travel for Canelo. They're going to travel for Munguia. And if Munguia is able to shock the world like that, that will send
shockwaves.
It's a huge festive day for Mexico outside of the Cinco de Mayo stuff. Their day, the one they pride themselves on is 15 de septiembre. That's their independence.
That's their holy day, right?
That's what they're really known for. But Cinco de Mayo is obviously for everyone else. But
I think that for
Vegas, and I think that's a bigger fight
for sure
than him fighting Charlo.
For sure, because the name, the like you said, the name Canelo is always going to bring the attention. But what people want to see now, which is the problem when Mayweather was on top, is the matchmaking. Yep. Make the matches at least count for something. And don't just put in a paint can in there.
It's a second fight,
you know what I mean?
It's a September fight.
Well, hold on. I wanted to ask you this. Because you mentioned him, and he necessarily wasn't the first guy that came to my mind. It was Edgar Berlanga. And I know that you have talked to me about Berlanga a lot. You know what I mean?
Shout out to his trainer, man, Mark.
And my boy Joseph has been like, yo, this guy's the real deal. So I wonder if Canelo will ever even step in the ring with him. It would be short notice because Berlanga just ended up fighting like, a couple of weeks ago, right?
Saturday night, won by 6-round knockout.
Do you prefer to see that fight, or would you rather see the Molina fight?
I'd rather see Berlanga. I'd rather see Berlanga.
Even on the short notice?
It won't be short notice because he just fought Saturday. This fight won't be until September.
I get it, but still.
This fight won't be until September. And Berlanga will be recovered from minimal scars. But it's back to styles make fights.
Yes.
And it's Puerto Rico, Mexico, the biggest rivalry
that's
in all of boxing.
Good rivalry, dog.
Personally, for me, the best rivalry in all of sports. Rivals right there with Red Sox, Yankees, Mexico, Puerto Rico in boxing, a lot of bad blood, and they leave it all on the table.
Yeah.
And then you have Edgar Berlanga with 17 knockouts and 21 fights.
Real deal.
So that lens is intriguing a little bit. An older Canelo, if Berlanga's able to land, can he floor Canelo? I seriously doubt it. I think Canelo's going to mop the floor with him and embarrass Berlanga and knock him out.
Right.
But it's just that probability. The second fight with PBC would have been Terrence Crawford. I love Terrence Crawford. Yeah. I think Terrence Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
It's probably the future.
You're asking Terrence Crawford to go from welterweight to middleweight, so 147 to 160. Nah. Not even, super middleweight to 168.
Yeah,
that is a 3-division leap.
Nah.
And he's not as big as Canelo. I think Canelo would have broken down, even an old Canelo would have broken down Terrence Crawford. For as great as the boxer that Terrence Crawford is, I just don't think he would have the success to be able to defeat Canelo.
Yeah.
Edgar Berlanga comes in there, and
he's a legit
hit quit.
A legit
he
super
could literally
put
Canelo down, catch him in the right moment, and at the right age, and next thing you know, Edgar Berlanga is a super middleweight champion of the world, and another Puerto Rican just upset another Mexican fighter, and it's Trinidad versus De La Hoya all over again.
Yeah, that'll be wild.
Or Margarito Cotto. It's those rivalries, and then you have the rematch or a trilogy. It's just Puerto Rico, Mexico is different, man. It hits different in the sport of boxing.
And I think for those guys themselves, I think it would do wonders for their career, right? Like for Canelo to knock down a young, tough challenger and be like, yo, this is still my sport.
I think it's what's expected.
But still,
if you've seen
it's
Edgar
impressive to do it, though.
fight a lot, like he should, like going into that fight, he should knock out Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga still has a lot of things to overcome. That defense is sloppy. The fact that you're getting touched up by this dude on Saturday. But it's what we've mentioned. It's what Mike Tyson used to bring to the table, even late in his career. It's like, if I touch you once, every time I touch you, there's a possibility that you're going to go night-night.
Yeah.
And the other guys don't possess that. They don't threaten that.
No, Canelo's never felt that threat. Recently. He hasn't felt that threat recently. He hasn't.
It's just, Caleb Plant came off of winning knockout of the year and wasn't able to even demonstrate anything near to hurting Canelo.
Yeah.
So he's got one of the best jaws ever. Ever in the sport of boxing. I didn't say now.
No,
I said
ever. Because he's been there with the guys.
It's just weird exercises that you do to strengthen that jaw and that neck. But Edgar Berlanga does possess power.
A real challenge. That's why I'm excited to see who gets the fight first.
I don't want to go there. I'm just saying the possibility of ending it with one punch.
Nobody else has that though. Not at that super middleweight.
David Benavidez. To me, the fight to see in the super middleweight division is David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez, and you know how fond I am of Canelo.
Yeah, I know. That would be the fight. That would be a dope fight.
That is a relationship that, thanks to him, because of the way that he's allowed that relationship to blossom, because he can put an end to anything whenever he wants. His entire camp does. So the fact that he's allowed me the access and to be around the times that I have been, always biased towards Canelo, but we're talking seriously and open and honest. David Benavidez ends Canelo Alvarez's career.
Oh shit. Damn, dog. That's strong. That's strong, Vic, because, you know, there's a lot of guys who want that spot. There's a lot of guys who want that spot.
David Benavidez is a different monster.
If he can carry it, though, because that's the question, right?
Benavidez
that's the question, though.
Monster.
Can you carry it? You know what I mean? Because
I get it, man. I get it. I'm a big subscriber to, you know, hey, pay-per-view fights, the lights of Vegas.
Different, dog.
David Benavidez is that.
All right. Well, you heard it here, man. David Benavidez. If it ever goes down with Canelo, put your money on Benavidez. I'm sure he'll make some great money that night if the knockout happens. No, absolutely not. We'll edit that out. Yes or no, quick. Yes or no. Do you think Ngannou has a chance against Anthony Joshua to knock him out? They're fighting next Saturday.
Yeah.
For sure, right?
Yeah, no, I know they're fighting. Ngannou, what he did with Tyson Fury, and the fact that Anthony Joshua has been floored. Ngannou floored Tyson Fury.
Yeah, he did.
And we know Deontay Wilder floored Tyson Fury numerous times, but yeah, he's got a legit shot.
I thought so too.
I think Anthony Joshua wins the fight because Anthony Joshua is a really good boxer.
A real good boxer.
Really good boxer. Gold medalist.
Jab,
like
excellent.
Really good boxer. Been doing this for a lot longer than Ngannou, but I would not be shocked.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I would not be shocked at all. If Ngannou walks away with the victory or even flooring Anthony Joshua and knocking him out, I would not be like, oh, wow, what an upset.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, okay. I could see that
Power
happening.
translates.
Yeah.
Power translates.
But Anthony Joshua should win the fight.
Yeah, I think so too, because Joshua, like you said, he's just a better polished boxer, and he probably won't go in there fucking around, right? He's gonna go in there knowing that this guy is gonna be boring. Could end this night, and he's gonna be himself.
He's gonna be Andy Ruiz, Joshua, and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which we were out there for, and it's gonna be boring. It's gonna. I'm gonna keep him at bay. Boom, boom. Do my jab. I'm not gonna allow him in. Right. I'm gonna move around the ring. I'm gonna tire him out. He's not gonna do what Tyson Fury does. Tyson Fury likes to stand in front of you and trade and see what you got,
his fun,
and knows that he can get up from it.
Right.
Anthony Joshua knows he can't get up from it. So I don't think he's going to stand there and be a hitting target for Ngannou.
It's going to be an entertaining fight for sure.
For sure, yeah.
It's going to be an entertaining fight. Let's wrap up on the Canes. Oof. You know, I need you, right, to give me some reason for hope for this season. I know we got Cam Ward in. Yeah. We also got that other quarterback in from the portal. Obviously, one of those two guys are going to start. Everybody's leaning towards Cam Ward. What is it that fans should expect this season from the Canes, right? Cristobal's third year of the project. He's obviously made an intense lineup change to that offensive line. He's brought in some big dudes to help that running game and passing game open up. Sell me the dream this year for the Hurricanes and why I think they should be able to compete in the ACC. Though.
I laugh, man, because I know the way I'm viewed, and I know the way it sounds, and ACC championship.
Oh, come on, wins. Man. Because like, we're dog.
No, I get it. Come on. That's why I said it. Because I get it. Oh, here's the executive producer.
You could have sold me with 11 wins. If you would have said, yo, SoSo, we're getting 10 wins for sure.
ACC championship gets you into the playoffs. Like, the rule just came out. ACC champions is guaranteed a playoff spot. What happened to Florida State last year is no longer going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Look at the schedule. It's favorable. You got Florida State at home. You got the Florida Gators to open up. Yeah. Florida is atrocious right now.
They're really bad.
They might be one of the worst teams in the state of Florida. Florida Gators at the Swamp, August 31st. That's going to set the tone.
That's for you, Crowder.
Damn right. For all them Gators. That's going to set the tone. Then you have a favorable schedule. A lot of teams come to South Florida. There's a lot of teams that are coming to Hard Rock Stadium. And I just don't think the rest of the ACC is up to par with what the Miami Hurricanes. Look, we're the offseason champs, man. They make a ton of moves. So I get the way it sounds. But year 3, that's it. Honeymoon's over.
Honeymoon's over.
Results need to be seen. And I love this comparison. And I've been doing this since last year.
Let's hear it, dog.
Look what Florida State did in year 3 of Mike Norvell.
Yes.
It is time.
Yes.
It is time.
You know,
this year, Mario Cristobal needs to show South Florida and the Miami Hurricanes need to show the nation we're here. And we're not here just for the recruiting. We're not here for the off-season rankings. We're not here for the stars. We're here to show that we can be legit contenders, not within our conference, nationwide. And I do strongly feel that the schedule favors that. And what has happened throughout the rest of the conference is going to allow them. Florida State lost a lot.
Yes. Other teams got weaker for sure, and the Hurricanes.
And you have Florida State at home.
On paper, the Hurricanes have gotten better. Like you said, we always find a way to hit.
You can't lose to Georgia Tech with less than 30 seconds to go.
Dog. And that's on Cristobal, right?
It is. So I'm thinking
you and I have
you've
talked
made
about
the right adjustments. You've made the right coaching fires and hires.
Yes.
And I think year 3, it all comes together. And if it doesn't,
hot seat at the very least, right? Because
he ain't going nowhere. He is not going anywhere.
But dog, we just said,
don't care
not
what
just
happens.
not just we. But here's the thing, Vic. Here's the thing.
They could possibly go 5-7 again, and he still won't get fired.
Hell no. Maybe not get fired this year, but there's no way that he wouldn't be in a position where, hey, we're starting to question your judgment. Because
he's been questioned already. Year 1, he was questioned. You lose to Middle Tennessee State at home.
But those are finicky fans, right? Those are finicky fans who are like, Konya, you're Cristobal, come in here, turn the program around, and let's win, right? No, you and I both know that college football has a lot to do with how you build a program, right? You got to start with the sand, and then you pull in the gravel, and then you put on some cement, and then you put on the foundation.
He not done that, though?
Yes, he has.
He's doing that? So,
and that's why I said earlier that he's put the O-line together. He's put the O-line together. He found a quarterback we think. We know that we have some weapons on the outside. We know that we have real good running backs back there, 3 to be exact. And the biggest upgrade was to the offensive line. We got 2 guys who are 6'4", 6'6", 300 pounds plus playing on the O-line. That shit is not normal in college football. So when you have that...
Miami is starting to look like the rest of the country.
Correct.
You got some big white boys on that O-line. You got some big monsters on that O-line.
Yes.
You're starting to look... Your backs are big. Powerful backs. Your receivers are tall. They're able to make grabs. You have Restrepo, who's that slot guy who is the most
your veteran leader, dog. He's your veteran leader.
And the defense. The defensive line.
That's what we haven't hit on yet.
The defensive line. And obviously we're going to miss guys in the secondary with James Williams and Cam Kitchens. But you're starting to see it. I know I sound like the homer. I know I sound like the executive producer of Miami Hurricanes. And you say this every year. Year 3.
Year 3.
Year 3 because it needs to be year 3. Because the team upstate in Florida, the team from the capital of Florida did it in year 3. And we saw those leaps and bounds. And we saw that they had similar first 2 years under Mike Norvell. So there's no excuses. You have to replicate that. If not, overachieve it.
Yeah, for sure.
However you want to phrase it, you have to be better than what they were, and you have them at home this year.
Especially Cristobal, because even if you look back at year 3, what he was doing in Oregon, he was putting that team in the top 4. You know what I mean? He was putting that team in the top 4 with a program that didn't necessarily have the best of the best athletes, right? So now that he's here and he's coming into year 3 and we have all these little pieces together, I would really love to see it to come together and manifest itself into, good performances. I don't even need an 11-win season. But you go out there and I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, if you go out there and you put up 11 games where you were really good in 11 games and maybe a kick or 2 went your way and you lost one of those games, that's what I want to see.
No, but that's what we've been doing. That's what we've seen.
Not really.
2 years ago,
we've seen
our boy Andy misses
We've seen some fall-offs.
That field goal against Virginia. We saw what happened with Georgia Tech, and we saw what happened. Like, dude, that's and then NC State.
And even in a close game against Temple and losing that,
we've seen that.
Yeah,
we're over that.
Yeah,
it's not it can't be a season where you don't get to 10 wins, but you played hard.
Nah.
No, this is the year. You need to see results. Yeah. It is what it is. I'm not saying fire Mario Cristobal. If you don't, I'm not saying he's going anywhere. I know he's not going anywhere.
We agree to disagree on that. I mean, I get it.
I'm telling you, he is not going anywhere.
Dog,
Mario Cristobal is here to stay. Mario Cristobal is building. He has the trust of everyone at that university. He is here to stay. And after what he accomplishes this season, at least that's what I'm hoping. And I truly do believe it. I think be careful he doesn't get an extension.
Let's do it, dog. I mean,
he doesn't get an extension.
An extension if we make the ACC championship game. If we make the ACC championship,
think they make the ACC championship game. I think they win the ACC championship. I think they're most likely a college football playoff team.
God damn it!
Because
of your mouth to God's ears, dog. Hey, that's what we're gonna do, dog. We're gonna wrap up on that positivity, dog. We're gonna put
Florida State at home. You got to be Florida.
You got to be Florida State at home for sure, and you got to kick the shit out of the Gators too. You got to win.
They're beating the Gators.
No. But I mean, beat them. Don't beat them 17-3.
They're beating the Gators.
You know what I'm saying? Like, go out there and dominate. Go out there and dominate against FSU. That's what I need to see.
They're beating the Gators. You got Florida State at home.
Got to dominate.
Schedule's
dominate.
favorable. You travel, you know, biggest road trip. You got to travel to California to take on Cal Berkeley. Close out the year with Syracuse.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good
at their
game.
dome. I've studied the schedule up and down.
Let's see it, dog. Hey, look, you know me, dog. The last time we went to an
This is the year.
ACC championship
Year
game,
3. Here's a turnaround.
we were out there, dog.
Here's a turnaround.
It didn't go out. It didn't go that well for us.
ACC champs.
ACC, we were there, dog. We were there at that last ACC championship game that they were in, right? We were there.
And our offensive line now looks like that offensive line.
Yes.
And that's what I'm getting to. That offensive line at Clemson
Was
on that
great.
Bank of
Was
America
great.
Stadium, and Clemson runs, and they knew it. They knew it. They run through our sideline, and I'm standing on the sideline. Michael Irvin, shout out Mike. Edgar James was there, dude. And they're running through it, and they're looking at you because they know we got size on you.
Yeah, you can't.
And
do
they're
shit.
doing the intimidation factor. I'm gonna run right by you and look at your little linebackers. You know, Shaq, Denzel, Zach McLeod, great
Love
for
those
us.
guys.
But what Clemson
Had
was
no
playing
chance.
with at that time,
Had no chance.
huge. And I mean, I'm 6'1". They tower over me and triple my size.
Yeah.
And that's what Miami looks like now.
Yeah. But it has to translate to wins. I will give you that. It has to translate to wins because we have so much talent there, dog.
I think it does.
And I think that's how we have to end the show, dog. We have to end with Kane's positivity for sure, dog. Victor, bro, I appreciate you, dog. You know, you got a home here, dog. Let the people know where they can follow you if they haven't already, because if not, you're slipping.
On Instagram and Twitter is the same thing. At Vic Bermudez, VIC, last name Bermudez. And then, yeah, man, just Sunday Night Football on Telemundo. All sports coverage on Telemundo Deportes. And once that Kane season hits on 560 WQAM.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
10 plus hours of Kane's radio every Saturday. Or Friday nights. Sometimes I think we play on. We have a couple Friday games. I don't think we got Thursday games.
No, I don't think so. But it's gonna be a fun season, dog.
August 31st.
It's gonna be a fun season.
Gators.
Pack the house.
Well, it's at the Swamp.
Well,
Don't pack.
Don't pack the house.
Pack the Swamp.
Pack the swamp. You know what? Pack the swamp, dog. Let's get everybody up there, man. It's your boy SoSo. You guys know what to do. You got to hit us up on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the show if you haven't already. Hit the notification button so you guys get notified when we drop amazing episodes like this with this guy right here, Victor Bermudez. If you haven't already, go ahead and give that guy a follow. Until next time, it's your boy So. Peace.